Good afternoon to you all. Welcome you all in the second plenary session of this 2 days international conference on redefining tourism through 5 key priority areas. Respected dignitaries on the dais of the dais, deans and different schools, Mizoram University, heads of different departments, faculty members, paper presenters, offline and online research scholars and students. May I please invite Professor Sitikantha Mishra, Pro-Vice Chancellor, Shiksha O, Sandan University, Odisha, and former Director, IITTM, to please come up on the stage. Professor Sitikantha Mishra, President, excuse me. Okay. Then, may I invite Professor Monica Prakash, Professor, Business Studies Nodal Officer, IITTM, Nellore. Can you please come up on stage? I kindly invite Professor R.K. Mohanty, Professor and Head Department of Sociology, Mizoram University, Aizawl, Mizoram. I kindly invite Professor V.P. Sathi, Department of Geography and Resource Management, Mizoram University. Professor Saurav Kumar Dixit, Department of Tourism and Hotel Management, Nehru, Shillong. Can you please come up on stage? I kindly invite Dr. Sanjeev Sena, Associate Professor, Department of Hospitality and Tourism Management, Assam University, Silchar. Then our Chairperson, Professor Bibhuti B. Pradhan, Pro-Vice Chancellor, Shiksha O. Arun, University, Odisha, India. Then our session coordinator, Dr. Pankaj Kumar, Assistant Professor, Department of Tourism and Hospitality Management, Mizoram University. Let me say a brief introduction for all of them. Professor Sitikantha Mishra, presently appointed as Pro-Vice Chancellor, SOA University, Odisha, also a member of Board of Governors, IITTM. Professor Mishra, former Director of IITTM, a multi-campus institute of Ministry of Tourism, was facilitated at the 6th Asia-Euro International Conference on Tourism, Hospitality and Gastronomy, particularly for promoting IITTM into a leading center of excellence. He was the first academician to occupy the position. He has authored many articles in national and international journals, wrote 3 books on themes related to tourism planning and marketing. His main areas of interest are strategic management, financial management, and tourism planning. Right now, I'll be handing over to Pankaj, sir.
Good afternoon. Welcome you all in this international conference on redefining tourism through 5 key priority areas. Today, this is the second plenary session. Honorable Chairperson, Professor Bibhuti Bhushan Pradhan, Honorable Pro-Vice Chancellor, Shiksha Anusandhan University. We have 6 speakers. Respected Professor Sitikantha Mishra, Pro-Vice Chancellor, Shiksha Anusandhan University, Odisha. We have next speaker, Professor Monica Prakash, Professor Business Studies and Nodal Officer, Indian Institute of Tourism and Travel Management, IITTM Nellore. Professor R.K. Mohanty, Professor and Head Department of Sociology, Mizoram University. We have 4th speaker, Professor V.P. Sathi, Professor, Department of Geography and Resource Management, Mizoram University. Our next speaker is Professor Saurabh Kumar Dikshit, Professor, Department of Tourism and Hotel Management, Northeastern Hill University, Nehu, Shillong, Meghalaya. And we have sixth speaker, Dr. Sanjeev Saxena, Associate Professor, Department of Hospitality and Tourism Management, Assam Central University, Silchar, Assam. Respected Deans, Head of the Departments from Mizoram University, faculty members from different departments, research scholars, students, ladies and gentlemen. Today, the theme of this seminar is redefining tourism through G20 key priority areas. As we know that India is hosting G20 presidency in the current year 2023. Under the framework of G20 and in line with the tourism development, Minister of Tourism, Government of India has identified 5 key priority areas of tourism, which has also been considered for the contemporary tourism development approach. These 5 priority areas are: first one is greening of tourism sector, second one, harvesting the power of digitalization, empowering youths with the skills, nurturing tourism MSMEs and startups, and fifth one is rethinking strategic management of destinations. The purpose of approaching and achieving these areas, these thrust areas, is also to reach consensus on how the sustainable development goals will be achieved by 2030. So today in this plenary session 2, we have with us dignitaries who have been working towards these goals directly or indirectly in their streams. We feel privileged to welcome all the dignitaries on the dais. We feel privileged to have you all, sir, to share with your vast experience with us. So now I would like to request the session chair, Professor Vibhuti Bhushan Pradhan, sir, to start the session. So thank you, sir. Over to you, sir. Oh, so before starting the session, first we are going to felicitate our speakers on the dais, chairperson, and then one by one. So please, I request students of department, please come. So now may I request Chairperson Professor Bibhuti Bhushan Pradhan sir to start the session.
Very good afternoon. I think it is my duty to give a special thanks to the Department of Tourism and Hospitality Management, the head, Professor Himanshu Bhusan Rout, and his team due to three things. First one is, a young university like your Department of Tourism and Hospitality Management, in short span of time, he could arrange one international conference on redefining tourism through G20’s key priority areas. This is my first point. Second point is, the tourism as a field, he could bring the people from every area. I think in the first session, he could bring and he can allow the participant to speak on green tourism. He allowed the participant to speak on skill. He allowed the people to speak on empowerment. He allowed to speak in MSME. He allowed to speak on the Indian ethos and so on. So this is the first planning session. And here, again I see a group of experts. Those are from different streams, particularly from sociology to geography, from hotel management to tourism sector, and from people from the hotel industry, those who have worked for a long time. So it is a good mixture, and that's why I congratulate the professor and head and the department for organizing such conferences in the place of Aizawl. And third one is my personal. I think this particular Aizawl city has given me the opportunity to stand in the teaching profession. I will say, in 40 years back, I landed this place in 83, and I could serve one of the constituent college of Nehu, that is Pachunga University College, and you started the commerce department, I think in the completion of, I think it is 50 years of the Pachunga University College. So this is the beginning of the commerce education in the state of Mizoram. And after that, now that is my link to this Mizoram, and that is my link to come back and have a few days after 40 years of time. And second one is, I think from Mizoram, I have switched over to Kohima under the assignment by the Nehu. They have landed in Manipur University. And in Manipur University, as the first batch of commerce students, I got an opportunity that my first batch, he could lead the department along with Professor Nimit, I think in Department of Management of Mizoram University. He is none other than L. Sasikumar Sharma, present head of the management department. So that's why I say, and whatever I learned from this particular place, that is my life learning process, and that process, I do hope that tourism industry will go forever till times to come. By looking to this, I do remember the tourism comes from the background of historians. Historian tells us that what is your travelers. So you say that it may be a Megasthenes or Painian or Wensang who visited from abroad and say what is India and what was India. And those spirits still alive in Indian subcontinent. I think you must keep those glory, those insights to develop this industry for next generation. And in the meantime, there are a lot of crises come out, and you manage with the crisis. The crisis may be political, like your foreign invasion, like your Mughals, like your colonial imperialism, maybe due to natural calamities, like your cyclone, like your earthquake, like your famine, like any natural disasters. And I think in Arthashastra, our great, I think we can say political thinker, that is your Kautilya, he says that disaster or crisis may come due to natural disaster, maybe due to Davyam, maybe man-made. So all the Davyam calamities you had accepted, and with that acceptance and with the man-made calamities you accepted, you remain in 2023. And in that with 2023, now you have to redefine the meaning of tourism, you have to redefine the meaning of concept of tourism with the help of all multidisciplinary areas among ourselves. And let us say that tourism not in the area of simple management, is something beyond management. So all the areas of management, all the areas of social science, all the areas of natural sciences, everybody should join their hands to redefine the meaning of tourism and satisfy the key priorities areas of G20 and make the tourism a great endeavor for the mankind. So let us try for a stronger India. Let us try to build up our ancient glory of India. Let us pull on with the plenary session. Let us do our best to help this conference to be more enjoyable and encouraging. Thank you.
Esteemed Chairperson of this session, my dear colleague, Professor Vibhuti Bhushan Pradhan, my former colleague, Monica, Professor Mahanti, Professor Shati, Saurabh, and Sanjay. Honored delegates, dear students, ladies and gentlemen, we are almost behind 1 hour of the schedule. I do not know what Professor Gupta again and again emphasized yesterday, the success stories of Indigo to start late and reach before time. Hopefully we'll try for it. I have been assigned by Professor Rout a topic not very close to me, vocal for local in boosting tourism industry. Yesterday, whatever we discussed in the formal presentation, in the informal discussions with my esteemed friends and colleagues, there are apprehensions about the direction in which we are promoting our products, our places. Particularly, Professor Gupta was explaining the present situation in Uttarakhand, the situation in Simla, Manali, Puri, all other places which were of different types of sites, places are beyond the carrying capacity. I am born and brought up in Puri. From my great-grandfather, every day we think to have a darshan of Lord Jagannath, and in fact till my grandfather we are earning our bread by serving the deity. That is why Maharaja has taken us from different places. We belong to a place in Uttar Pradesh, Kanauj. But now if you go to Puri, you have to stand on a queue at least for 1 kilometer, and hardly you can get a darshan for few seconds. There is some control up to the entry point of the deity, but once you reach there, situations are uncontrollable. I remember Pandit Nehru once said about Simla, the Britishers, they were all through preparing to spend their summer in such places. So he thought not to go to Simla, but to Manali. But condition of Manali is more precarious today. When I am giving this type of background and standing to plead for the vocal for local in boosting the tourism destination, Dr. Himanshu, I still guided the basic principles. Nothing can overrule the Indian Constitution. Nothing can overrule the Bible. So the 5 steps we discussed yesterday, starting from the green tourism, and our friend was telling that is applicable for other 4 also, partially it is correct. We have to again think of a strategy for our destinations management. So with this background, let me speak few things about the call given by our Prime Minister. Before independence, till Gandhiji came to the picture, there were all in the history, but the Swadeshi movement after Gandhi entered, the call of Gandhiji particularly was so touched to the Indians. The Swadeshi movement of the pre-independence era, led by Mahatma, was a landmark movement that contributed to the development of Indian nationalism. Whether it is Khadi, whether it is non-cooperation, all this till do or die, quit India. So it has not been properly interpreted, but the first thing they say that do and die, Gandhi said, but always Gandhi has a condition of non-violence, but somehow or other the situation went beyond control. Perhaps our Prime Minister, most likely influenced by Gandhiji's this nationalism slogan, on his part, while addressing to the country on 15th August 2020, has given the slogan, vocal for local, to encourage the people. What to encourage the people? To encourage the people to achieve the goal of Atmanirbhar Bharat, self-reliant India. The basic meaning of vocal for local is to make local and use local and promote local. Yesterday, when we entered your campus, I was quite impressed with the dress of your Mizo dress, the young boys and girls. It has impressed me. I would have loved to be taken a photograph, shared with my friends and family with the Mizo dress, but situation was not very conducive for me at that point of time. Maybe before I go, I would love to have, look, you have impression. The bamboo dance, fantastic. I was thinking that how they are doing it with the rhythm, with the movement of the bamboos and their legs. When you come to my state, like you have the dance in Manipuri, we have a classical dance of Odisha. We have a Sambalpuri sari, Sambalpuri dress. That was not very popular previously. What Prime Minister said, It is only in the 50 years we could popularize both our Odisha dance, performed throughout the country, beyond the country. People from abroad, they have come, learned, stayed in India, and they are members of the parliament today. Sonal Mansingh. It's not from India. And you find from the president is from our state. I should not tell it. And before that, any lady, starting from Indira Gandhi to present anchors, the first opportunity that they like to wear Odissi saris, Sambalpuri saris. So it is the people of Sambalpur, they are using it initially. Difficult to come other parts of the state. They produced, they used, and subsequently they promoted. What practically the inherent message to all of us, we should feel proud of our village, our product, our culture. If I do not feel proud for my school, for my village, if I am not proud for my father, my mother, I am not proud for my state or for my country, who else should be proud? That belongingness must be there when you plead for. Be vocal for local. So unless I develop that habit, unless I develop that culture, can I really speak something? Very simple thing in the principles of management. Professor Sharma is there. We have a very common topic of time management. Giving a 1 hour lecture on time management, if I do not come to my school, college and conference on time, do you feel it will have any meaning? Will have any impact? No. Absolutely no. Gandhiji said that don't smoke, don't drink. You tell it in the class, say it is the father of the nation has said it. If I come to my house with a drunken state or to the class, will it have any meaning? No, friend. We don't accept it. That's why I say, Jat jat chatarathe sastaha tattatitoro janaha. As the teachers behave, so also the students. As the father or mother behave, so also their children. That is what we have to. When we talk about vocal for local, we should make the product, we should use the product, then the question of promoting the product they come. This initiative will definitely provide you employment opportunities in local areas. The best example that during this pandemic, when there is no option to bring product from other part of your own state, we have to depend on the local products. If that is possible for at that time, why not we should think that we can produce something in our village, in my district, in my state, in my country. When I am in my village, I am a villager of Binarsimpur Puri. When I am in the district, I am from Puri district. I belong to Odisha. When I go to abroad, for me, local is Indian. There cannot have any identity. The passport is not from anything else. Passport issued by the President of India that I am Indian. In that sense, it is also local. Local, yes, approach, the letter says that it is local means for my village, but the spirit says it is much beyond. So this will encourage the production, create employment, and India specifically now going ahead of Atmanirbhar Bharat. In the last 5 years, if you find out the products we had, before pandemic, we do not have simple things for our treatment to the patients. Within 6 months we could produce. We have not borrowed, not imported. India could produce all other necessities, including the mask to the kit, oxygen cylinders. We faced some problem, but subsequently you must have seen in a short span of time how we could. Ventilators. How many ventilators we produced in a short span of time? There are many hospitals do not have a single ventilator. Where I am working, we could have 208 or 2,800 patients were there. So we have around more than 1,500 ventilators. It's possible because of the pandemic, because of the challenges, because of the necessities. I was going through the brief history of the Jeep automobile. Jeep was produced in a very short span of time in Second World War when no other vehicle can go and give the necessities to the soldiers. That's why we have separate language now, jeepable road. There is no jeepable road to that place. It's so unaccessible. There are some steps government has also taken. You must be aware of it. We have a multilingual Incredible India website. We have a mobile app to provide information about the India as a tourist destination. The website has also destinations with a 360-degree virtual tours. Minister has launched another website, uchab.gov.in, to showcase the various events and festivals of our country from different parts of our country. Classification of the accommodations is no more than 3-star. It's for all accommodation there must be classification, no? And it has been digitalized. IITTM, they are organizing a program of the ministry, Incredible India Tourist Facilitator. Perhaps they are doing it. E-marketplace for Incredible India tourist guides and facilitators are also going on. National integrated database for hospitality industry has already been created, named Nidhi. Minister of Tourism has set up the National Digital Tourism Mission. This mission envisages to achieve the objective of harnessing the full potential of digitalization of tourism sector. Many other works are going on, I think. But having all this said, we should ask ourselves, how much is too much? How much is too much? Where you should promote, where you should dissuade. That is why the 5th point, we have to think of a strategy for developing our destinations. Otherwise, if the people, the local population of Goa and the visitors in Goa, if you take into account, for a long time people will not tolerate. Same problems in many other places in the country. But whereas I was just asking casually, don't take it in any offense, we have promoted the Char Dham Jatra. If you ask anybody in North India, what is Char Dham Jatra? In spite of the situation in Himalaya, it's the youngest mountain, you don't know that. 50 years back, it was all said that what will be going to happen. How many tourists are coming every day? After the disaster also, the number of visitors are increasing. How long it can continue? Same in many other places, whether it is natural, religious, or man-made. Char Dham is not Gangotri, Jamunetri, Kedarnath and Badrinath. Someone asks you, what is Char Dham in the country? The concept was Shankaracharya. In east it is Puri, in west it is Dwaraka, in north it is Badrinath, and in south it is Rameshwar. That is called Char Dham of the country. We do not go for any religious faith. Visiting to a religious place will not call spiritualism. Religiousness and spiritualism are much different. There is a conference going on for G20 in Pondicherry, first week of next month, spiritualism and sustainability. That was telling to you what we learn from what lessons we should learn from spirituality for the sustainable development of the country. My friends, India lived. Sir, should I close it? I should close it. India lived in a civilization which was perfectly eco-friendly. Some of the salient features, basic salient four features are, we are always indebted to the nature. When I say indebted, I express my that. Not only I love my son, I also say, I love you better, I'm missing you better. I feel it, I do not tell it, it has no meaning. Bible has said that if you love somebody, tell him, tell her I love you. So if you say that expressing your gratitude, indebtedness, that is why I said, Parvata Stripyandang, I respect the mountains, I respect the Himalayas. When I respect the Himalayas, I respect my Guru, I respect my friend. How should I behave with my friend? How should I behave with my father? That is the way I should behave with all other creations of the world. Then the sense comes, I have a necessity, that is why I am cutting a tree. What should be my approach? The basic things I require, I must have. That is why I always say that in our philosophy, it is not only the human being, animals. Everyone has some sense. Ravinda has said that if each one has some life which you do not know, if I do not use my car properly, the car will not give me the service I expect. If I do not behave properly to my friend, he will give a reciprocal thing. It is not only human beings, to the dog, to the, which you say, lifeless product. Indians do not believe it. Indebtedness to all heavenly creations, all natural creations. We depend on others. Others do not depend if this, fortunately, it should not happen. Pandemic has given us that when we all were in our house, tigers and elephants, they came to the field. And the greenery increased during this pandemic period. So we do not contribute much for the sustainability of this world. Without human being, world can sustain. Without tree, world cannot sustain. Without water, cannot sustain. That is why we please remember, respect others, be indebted to all of them. Abrahma stambha parjantam jagadeka characharam. That is what we say. Abrahma stambha parjantam jagadeka characharam maya dattena tuena trupyantu bhuvanatrayam. I am expressing my indebtedness to all these creatures because I live because of their contributions, not the vice versa. Sorry, I have taken more the time to that. Thank you, my friends, for giving me another opportunity. Thanks to Himanshu again and again, to you and to your team. Wonderful hospitality.
I think we will let us make a open discussion at the end. So now may I request Madam Monica and to give her views around 10 minutes.
So good afternoon, everyone. I think before we start up, it's always, I think it is always advisable as well to thank the organizer for giving us a chance. For me, this was a bit special because this is the place where I actually started with my career, my formal career as such. Before 2007, I was associated with the assignments which are like off and on, but I think it was the Mizoram University for the first time which has given me the chance. So I owe a lot to it, and thanks to Himanshu for giving me this chance to come to Mizoram and once again live the life that we were living at that point of a time. You wouldn't believe it, 2 days ever since we have landed, we have been going to that is the bazaar that we have, to the McDonald's that we used to stay there, the Ritz Hotel where we actually started up with our stay, and it's like long memories that we have with each other. Now, talking about all these kind of a thing, I was just thinking about it, and for the people that we have been listening to since yesterday, I think everybody has been emphasizing on the importance of tourism, especially in Mizoram as such. Because we have not seen good numbers coming up as far as the Mizoram is concerned, but we see a lot of potential into it. I think when Jyoti sir were talking about it, Professor Jyoti, we could understand that Mizoram is a land which has immense potential as far as, any kind of a natural resource is concerned. You have huge potential to attract the people to this particular area. Now the question is, despite the fact that you have so much of a potential, why is it so that we are not able to attract the people to this point of a time? The question is, were we not interested, or is it like, was it not possible? I think I can give no marks to both these answers as such, because there are places where there are no resources, yet there is tourism, but there are places which have resources, yet there is not a tourism. So we really have to find a way where we can actually fit in Mizoram for that matter. Now, everything was going fine. Everybody was believing that, okay, fine, whatever that we are doing is doing right for the country. And then the COVID came. I think it was a halt. It was a full stop to so many kind of activities that was happening in the world. Not that the world was not worried about green tourism. It was not that the world was not worried about what is the way the tourism is actually growing. They were happy about the exponential growth, but there was a high concern about the way it was actually growing. So it was a time when we really have to sit back and think in terms of what do we need to add into tourism. People were there talking about it, but I think they were not taking it very seriously. I would not say thanks to COVID, but I would definitely say it was a blessing in disguise. We were forced to sit back. We were forced not to move around at our wills and choices. We were forced not to exploit the resources that God has given to us. We were forced to think in terms of, suppose if it opens, how are we going to do up next? And there comes a time when we have to define the word tourism. So it doesn't mean that you don't have to go out. It is just that you have to go out more responsibly. Now the question is, what as academicians we can do? So I just put it for the researchers and for the people who are into this tourism, courses as such. What is it that you have to contribute to make it better? I don't talk about my fellow beings. I think everybody in their own capacity has done a lot as far as tourism is concerned. I got a chance to chair a session where I had people from tourism, I had people from geography, I even had a person coming from a literary sciences and was talking about tourism as such. I think that is the beauty of tourism. You can have so many kind of points coming from different areas, and we can again gel down to think in terms of what best we can do for tourism as such. So my question is not to the people who are taking this as a commercial trade. It is not for the people who are just taking this as a business, but I just want to make it more clear about it. What is it that as academicians, as the researchers, as the students of MBA that we can do it? Now let us try to see to all 5 KPAs that G20 has talked about it. Infrastructure, not in my hand, but I can always propose for it, right? Then you have digitalization. Fine, I can just speak about the beauty of digitalization, but I think it is for the others to make it possible, and then it can again go wide. Talk about the MSME, yes. I can always suggest a kind of a ecosystem wherein these kind of things would flourish. So I can definitely talk about it. But the most important part that, this particular G20 has been pointing out is skilling of human manpower. So when I was listening to Mr. Himanshu, Professor Himanshu and Professor Jyoti Kumar, it is that point of a time that he realized that it is not that we don't have the resources. It is just that we need to have a zeal to once again make these resources more better. Now, it is at this point of a time that we say skilling of human power is very important. Now, trust me, having BBA graduates and MBA graduate is not going to make tourism better. I don't think that your degree is a waste. It is just that we have to understand that if we have to have tourism in our own place, there are so many other things that really have to be skilled on. And I think at this point of time, as IITTM person, I take this immense proud that ever since its inception time, we always have been thinking in terms of how to actually skill manpower. Trust me, right from that point of sensitizing people, the entire public, the normal public about what is tourism, what is the good tourism about, to a person who is a porter level, to a person who is a temple, to a person who is at the graduation level, to a person who is into the highest degree of it. We have been training people about it. I think training is the wrong word if I say about it, but at the same time, we have been upskilling them for the thing that they are doing so that they can make the things more better. Now, Mishra sir just spoke about one of the courses that is known as Incredible India Tourist Facilitator Program. I would just speak about it because that is very close to me. Because I was the one who actually initiated the project, and it took us definitely 2 years of our time, to once again bring about that particular topic, to gauge the importance of it, to convince the authorities that it is actually required, to again conceptualize that particular idea and bringing it back to action. So this is all for you people. I wanted to also speak about this particular program, but I'm taking this forum as an opportunity to speak about it. Now the question is, why are we talking about this program as such? Now, any place that you would go, I think the first time when I landed on the Mizoram, I just wanted to know something about it. And I wanted a person who can help me to tell about what is Mizoram like. So when I sat in the taxi, I wanted to speak to the driver about it, but unfortunately, he could not understand my language, so we couldn't communicate. So everything that passed by, I was just looking at it, noting it down. I thought probably whenever I would see a person who can understand me, I will speak about it. Then again, it so happened when I went to a hotel, I wanted to know more about tourism, but again, for that communication barrier that we have, we probably could not understand it. So I was just thinking about it, why is it so that I could not understand about tourism? Why is it so I could not understand about the Mizoram as such? And that's where I would tell you, these tourist facilitators are going to help you. Now, sir told about it that till you do not have a good pride in what you are, the place that you belong to, the things that you are born and brought up with, you will not be able to convey it so much. And I think Mizoram has one area where people are too proud of the fact of the places that they are. I think you must be having immense story to tell people about what Mizoram has been, ever since it has taken up a shape to a time what it is right now. I could see so many kind of things out there. But the question is, we did not have a good manpower to deliver this idea to the people around. And trust me, in tourism, it is the storytellers. As Professor Chaudhary was talking about yesterday, it is the storytellers that are very important. Now, this particular course is about creating these storytellers. I do not see the license guides, because when I see the word license guide, it is basically the badges that are given by Ministry of Tourism. So I'm not talking about that license guide, but these are again certificate courses which have been acknowledged by Ministry of Tourism. And the whole purpose of these courses is once again to empower the people. I do not even say the youth, people of all ages as such, to empower the youth to once again tell something about their own land. Right? So this is an online course. Anybody from any kind of an area once again can register for the course. It remains free with so many kind of conditions to it. I would just urge everybody, especially if you are into tourism and if you have some kind of an inclination towards tourism, please definitely enroll for the course. Because in the times to come, maybe it is not now, maybe in the times to come, let's say another 7-8 years from now, there would be no choice for the people to go anywhere than to come to a northeast, right? I think every place other than this place would be so exploited that people will definitely like to go to a place which is more earthy, which is more natural, and which is, definitely better. So be prepared for that particular time. Now, at the same time, I again take it as a blessing in disguise that thank God you did not actually promote tourism to an extent that you really have to sit back in terms of what next can be done. Now that you know what are the repercussions of tourism, now that you know how it is being used by the other countries, I think professionally also we really need to think about it. So what as an academician can be your contribution? Think in terms of what best can be done. Be a spokesperson be a help to policy makers, put up forward your ideas. Not every idea would be accepted by the people around because they have their own frame of mind. But once again, do not think about it, it is done. You keep doing something about what can be done. Now, yesterday I was just listening to one person talking about GIS and remote sensing. I really did not know if the geography could contribute so much to tourism, right? And it is the moment that he started up with presentation, again, I started Googling down and tried to understand what are the things that he's speaking of it. And again, an idea struck, imagine how geography can also contribute in the making of a ecotourism spot. Then there was another person who was talking about the literary, he was from a literary area, and he wanted to speak about how this therapy can be used in the tourism as such. So beauty about tourism is that you can always think in terms of collectively how to bring the best of what can be done into Mizoram. Trust me, you don't have to create good infrastructures to attract the people. People will not come to Mizoram if you have good hotels. I think even if you would not have good hotels, but if you just have a right mindset to serve the people, people will be definitely attracted to it. You don't have to be digital all the time to be on a place. Trust me, I don't even like to look at my mobile for the past 2 days when I'm in Mizoram, because I don't really like to get connected to that same kind of a hustle and bustle from where I am. I want to be at peace, again, without doing any kind of a thing. I'm very happy about it. So when they talk in terms of that you need to have good activities, they talk in terms of you need to have other kind of things to make the things attractive, I simply deny it. I say without even doing anything, you can be at peace at a place. I think this is one idea that Mizoram can again talk about it. The question is, you really have to create some kind of a niche for itself. As an academician, try finding out what could be a niche area for a tourism, for a Mizoram tourism. Because the entire Mizo tourism, entire of the northeastern states that we see are good at the greenery part of it. I think green is not what is going to sell in the market. You cannot say that we have good lands, we have good climate. This is not what is going to sell, because the same is there for Arunachal, the same is there for Nagaland, the same is there for the other neighboring states as such. The question is, what is there? And I could definitely tell you one thing that I have found is the people of Mizoram. It was highly unbelievable to say that you do not honk on roads. I come from a place where I think the people, the moment they drive, they put their hands on a honk, and it is honking, honking, and honking all the time. Right? Now imagine of it, you use honk to once again greet a people. You are there with the set of people who are so innocent, who are not into any kind of the, mischief or some kind of a misbehavioral act. I think this could be a niche for a tourism. Now think about it as an academician. Can this kind of an idea be promoted, can be given as a tagline that come to a place where you don't even have to put your brains onto it, you don't have to hold back your purses and you don't have to hold back your luggage because it doesn't get lost, you don't have to worry about it. We just went to an administrative block with a car, and it so happened that we forgot to communicate with the driver and he actually went off. Now, few of our things were there in the car, and we were just thinking of what will happen to it. Then definitely a person from Mizoram said, you don't have to worry about it, this is not Delhi. And it was such a relief. Right? I think this is what would be the buying idea of the Mizoram. So yes, you have good treasures land, you have good greenery, you have too many kind of a natural resources to it, but the question is something more has to be added to make it more better. I do not say that going for the tourism at all. Somewhere down the line, despite the fact I'm from a tourism industry, I always believe in responsible, using the terms responsibility. So erratic behavior of just creating, too many kind of buildings in the form of the hotels and then trying to attract the people for no reason as such. Once again, there was a student who said, suppose if you would talk of the liquor ban policy, work with the liquor ban policy, probably this is going to attract the people or not. This is not what is going to attract the people for Mizoram, right? So I think I just wanted to speak more about IITFC, but giving the time that we have, I think we'll not be talking too much about it. Anybody who is interested in can please once again approach me. I'm saying this because I have a mandate. So I belong to IITTM, and this is a program which has been given to IITTM. I being the coordinator, I have the mandate to increase the numbers of the tourist facilitators. And again, this is a very right time to be with you all and talk to you about it. So once again, this is why I was just talking about it. But once again, like whatever that you people have been hearing for the past 2 days, I'm sure you must have earned a lot of it. Even being the postgraduate students, you must be having an idea of how you're going to put all these ideas into action. listening to the eminent speakers from the field of tourism, the academicians who have been researching a lot and talking about tourism, I am very sure that you must be having a fair idea of where your research can go to. So I don't talk in terms of big things. I don't talk in terms of this is what we have to do. I always talk in terms of a realistic goals that we can definitely do, especially given my capacity, given my kind of a area, what is it that I can do it. So once again, I think everybody owes back to the nature, the earth as such, in whatever capacity that you can do for something, as the student and as the people of the land, you must definitely go it back. So please think in terms of tourism, but once again, keeping all these 5 factors into mind. Don't think in terms of a tourism where you have so much of a rational growth of the tourism. We are not able to manage it. We have seen places who have been destroyed for the reason that they have not thought in terms of what would happen if you're going to think irrationally about tourism. So again, green tourism is there. Use digitalization to a process to an extent so that you don't become just a digital, but you become non-digital as well. So don't force the people to look into their mobiles, but force them to look here and there and enjoy the beauty of the land, right? Talk in terms of MSME, yes, this is an industry which has so much to offer, even for the people who are just at the normal level. So you don't have to be a big giants to be in a tourism industry. Think in terms of what definitely at this area people can do about it. And I'm told that one of the best aesthetic is there with the Mizo people. So once again, exploit that kind of an opportunity and suggest to the people around how can this definitely be ignored. At the same time, any time that you get an opportunity to upskill yourself, whatever area it may be, please take an advantage of it. Trust me, tourism experience is the best experience. Whatever may be the person, he may not expect a good Wi-Fi, he may not be expecting too many kind of things when he comes to a place, but what he always expects is the compassion, the empathy with the people that he's interacting with. You show it this way, they're not going to come again. I do not even say that you have to be just this way to attract the people, at least be at the level. So you have to have that kind of a bent of mind. Try telling people about it, what good things that tourism can definitely bring to. Yes, it brings up good economy, brings up good money to the people around. But again, always measure on the terms of at what cost are you going to get the money. So I think for you, this is a beginning. I take you people, since it is just a 2019, this thing, now that you have tourism professional, not the management professional, not the commerce professional, now that you have tourism professionals, that 360 approach of yours definitely should contribute for the development of tourism. That's it from my side. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor Monica. May I request Professor Akimanti?
Esteemed Chairman Sir, respected co-panelists, dignitaries, two respected of the dais, Professor Rout from Tourism and Hospitality Management, the organizer of this great gala function, the research scholars, the students, media persons, our Mami from PR cell, and the support staff around, and my dear students. Actually, I was trying to fit into the title of this seminar when an invitation came to me, Redefining G20 Key Principles, Where Do I Fit? Then I tried to think that I will fit into the 5th principle, read out here. And hence the title of my presentation shall be Conceptualizing Culture Content in Tourism. This is how I begin. Because this seminar is time-suited and need-based, as two panelists prior to me could emphasize. And what I have read and found out is that there has been a profound paradigm shift in conceptualizing tourism today, with several constructions and reconstructions. where culture has become an inalienable part, not only in terms of tourist preferences, but also in tourism research. Research on tourism. Therefore, I ask myself two questions to answer. Where lies the connectivity between culture and tourism? How can we understand the connectivity between culture and tourism in appropriate heuristic perspective with all its epistemological and ontological dimensions intact? The second question is, what are the trends of research in the speciality called culture tourism? These are the two things that I want to answer. Actually, first, what is culture? Culture is something which has made us what we are, which has shaped our personality, and an instrument which we experience and use in our day-to-day life, the sum total of customs, traditions, beliefs, practices, folkways, norms and mores. And there is a two-way relationships between culture and tourism where influence flows both the ways. And how do we understand, how do we bring out the heuristics of the connections between culture and tourism? There are some binaries and concepts being redefined to establish such connections. First is the intercultural adaptation and cultural exchange. Second, authentic tourism and manufactured tourist experience. Third, marketability and experiential product. Marketability is culture and experiential product is your tourism. And the last but not the least is image formation. And image formation is very important to convert a potential tourist place to an actual tourist place. So first thing first, intercultural adaptation and cultural exchange. I will not take more than 15 minutes to Himanshu. And tourism facilitates interaction between people and products of different cultures, north and south, east and west, including domestic destinations. History of culture, lifestyle of people, art and crafts, architecture, monuments, food and dress, religion and rituals influence the tourist preferences. Intercultural adaptation of different culture has made the world a global village and very relevant when we are discussing G20 in that sense. Even interpreters are available at tourist destinations to facilitate such exchange, interaction and communication in those places. And I'll give you one example. In Puri, all the Brahmins prefer to speak Bengali more than Odia. And because Bengalis give them their bread more than Odia people giving. So, thinking beyond and globally have been an integral part of our lives in today's world more than anything, thanks to the social media, hence is the importance of cultural adaptation and exchange in redefining interconnectivity between culture and tourism. The debate on authenticity. Tourists prefer authentic destination. There is a scholar in tourism studies, and I have read D. McCannell in his book, The Tourist, The New Theory of Leisure Class, says tourism industry presents tourists with constructed tourist spaces which he calls staged authenticity. Authenticity more is an indigenous situation than in urban star locations. I'll give you one culture of Maori, a tribe in New Zealand, which offered roasted food to the guests and they cook raw food themselves. I'll tell you what is this binary at a later point of time, which is relevant in redefining our tourism concept. However, there is a debate among the scholars. For authenticity, do we need tourist ghettos or ITDC star hotels? Indigeneity or elite preference, Maurya Sheraton or eco resorts, a home away from home. So tourist sensitivity to the host culture is also being debated. And I'll give you one example. One tourist went to Nagaland and one of the guides, she was from North, she asked, how much of dowry did your father give during your marriage? Then the Naga girl, started, blasting at her. What is this? How do you think this particular thing in that particular sense? Secondly, a researcher in Trobriand Islanders. Trobriand Island is in Papua New Guinea. So what they have tried to do is this, that they took photo of the tribes. And at the evening, all the tribes fell ill because there was a belief in them that our heart was stolen in the black box of this particular alien person. Then fortunately next day he went and had carried the photographs, printed photographs, and could save his life. Then I also will try to tell you, this year in January, I took my students to KIT International School, which they hosted our entire CSST program. And they have free coaching and teaching and everything from UG, from KG to PG, around 35,000 students. Then I took and told them, these are our tribal students, please help us. And when they saw them, their faces, their dresses, their structure, their posture, their gesture, they started doubting me that in order to take their help, I have branded them as tribes. So these are the things which are very important, which you need to understand. Then comes the third concept, marketability. The increase in disposable income and time have enough, the chances of people to engage in tourist activity. Tourism can be called an experiential product while commodification of culture takes place and making it marketable. The last point is image formation. There is a scholar in tourism studies. His name is J.H. Hunt. In 1975, he has written a book entitled The Image and Representation of Particular Tourist Destinations, and has said tourist preferences are being heavily influenced by the images of tourist destinations projected to draw tourist preferences. Taj Mahal doesn't need image formation and projection, but Kelkang village in Champai district, which was unknown for quite long time, is now one of the best tourist destinations in Mizoram because of religious revival at that place. And it is being visited and helping local people in their marketability. So image formation basically means two things. Use of image to increase the symbolic value of the destination. That is image formation basically. Then the second part is ways to effectively communicate these images, which is called semiotics. Semiotics, this is being done through advertisement, networking and all those. I'm not going into that. Semiotics means the study of science and how meanings are generated from that. Things are as they are, but when you interpret it, the situation changes. I'll give you 2 examples. Attendance. What do you mean by attendance? Being present in the institution or at the employer's place, isn't it? But do you know what is the culture content in it? At, A-T, 10, T-E-N, dance. That means 10 o'clock. You are to be there. At your office, a culture created by British, and you blame colonialism too often, and therefore there is a binary between signifier and signified in that particular sense. Similarly, there is a binary between raw and cooked. Raw and cooked is symbolically, culturally different. Raw is what? Raw is what we take. Cooked, roasted is something what we serve to our guest, the staged authenticity. So, this is what thus tourist activities in that sense is not merely an economic transaction, but more of a cultural consumption where the culture is commodified by the host and consumed by the visitor. Then the second part of my lecture, 2 minutes, that is research trained. In fact, as we have seen, the experts present here, probably no university would have invited all the specialists of tourism and hospitality department so far in your experiences, sir, where all dignitaries of tourism and hospitality in the country are here today and so proud. So, tourism studies has expanded its scope and stretched its boundaries over the years to sustain its multidisciplinary character, as they have been saying. According to UNWTO report, the cultural tourism accounts for over 39% of the tourist arrivals as a major element in international tourism ecosystem. So cultural tourism has advanced several specialized themes also. Tourist preference of host culture, cultural sensitivity, intercultural adaptation, cultural tourism. Further, a research trend has also marked its shift from heritage studies also, and a research shift has been found from the study of tangible culture to greater emphasis on intangible culture, where culture as such becomes very important. What do you mean by intangible? What is this shift all about? There are three parameters which define the importance of intangible culture being emphasized. That is, from monument to people, from objects to functions, and from conservation to sustainable use. Further, tourism research has built new theories and paradigms under cultural tourism, such as mobility paradigm and theories of space being integrated to tourism research. And I take this opportunity to suggest that Department of Sociology at MJDU is prepared to extend all possible support and help for promoting research on cultural tourism in your department if kindly asked for. Thank you for the opportunity.
I think may I request Professor Sati from Department of Geography to give his presentation.
Very good afternoon, all of you. Respected dais, chairman and delegates, participants, dear ladies and gentlemen. I am going to present here one research on trends and potential of ecotourism development in Himalaya. So I thought of to present by PPT rather than to speak. This is my style also. So these will be the outlines of my presentation. I will just talk about the concept of ecotourism development. Ecotourism development in Uttarakhand or the Central Himalaya. Methodology, trends of ecotourist flows in these ecotourism destinations. Ecotourism hotspot, potential of ecotourism, score rank analysis, and policies for sustainable ecotourism. So the concept of ecotourism came into existence in 1980s to promote sustainable tourism in natural, forest and cultural areas. It involves around recreation, which is both nature-based and sustainable. Ecotourism is believed to be a new name of which was practiced in natural locales. So ecotourism is now some academicians, they call it, it was earlier natural locales, but they are calling it now ecotourism. The ecotourism is termed responsible tourism because of its multifaceted nature as examining the impact of tourism on the environment, community participation in ecotourism development and conservation of nature. So ecotourism is now multifaceted because it talks also the responsible tourism and also the conservation of tourism, and also it talks about the community participation. It also involves imparting education for conservation of the natural environment and ecosystem management. Ecotourism is an important form of nature-based tourism which not only helps in conserving the natural environment but supports rural livelihoods through augmenting jobs, generating revenue and preserving the cultural heritage in that places where the ecotourism destinations are located. So when we talk about the Central Himalaya, the ecotourism development, and then we will talk about potential also, it is actually the Uttarakhand, it came into existence in 2002 after carve out of Uttar Pradesh. So has significant potential for ecotourism development as it has rich biodiversity, national parks, wildlife sanctuaries and conservation reserves, spreading in 23% of the total geographical area is for this all the ecotourism, this conservation forest. These national parks and wildlife sanctuaries and conservation reserves are world famous and are the major ecotourism destinations. The Himalaya located in the north and northeast part of India and has been the center for attraction of nature lovers for centuries. It has varied and spectacular forest landscapes in the forms of alpine grasslands, the highland coniferous forest, mixed oak forest in the middle higher region, pine forest in the middle Himalaya, and mixed deciduous monsoon forest in the river valleys and plain regions. So when we talk about the ecotourism resource base and support system, you can see here that there are three support systems in that Central Himalayan region. One is the State Forest Department. Second is Ecotourism Development Corporation. Recently, after formation of Uttarakhand state, they have established this corporation. And then also community participation is vital for all this kind of this support system for ecotourism resources. But when we talk about the ecotourism resources, we have three bases. One is natural base. It is very important for ecotourism. It covers the fauna, flora, avifauna and wetlands. Then we have cultural base, cultural and historical, that is tangible, and intangible rural culture. Indigenous and rural culture is intangible. So these are the ecotourism resource bases and support system. So this methodology we have used to conduct this study is that we have interviewed 50 employees of park administration, and we have also field visit in these places and through observation. And then we have data of tourist flow in these ecotourist destinations, and we got data from Forest Statistical Diary from 2000 to 2018, Ecotourism Development Corporation, ecotourism data and ecotourism resource based data from national parks and wildlife sanctuaries, and then We use descriptive static analysis, rank score, indices labels, linear regression for trend of eco-tourist inflows. So this is some trends of eco-tourist inflows in that central part of the Himalaya. This is the trend of domestic eco-tourists from 2000 to 2018. And you see that it is continuously growing. It means that ecotourism development is now growing there because the number of people visiting these eco-tourist destinations, they are growing. But in between, if you see this line, the trend, it is very variable because of the Uttarakhand is, the central Himalayan region is highly, vulnerable to landslide hazards, and every year there are lots of hazards taking place. And as Professor Mishra also indicated that Char Dham, how people are going there and what will be the future if this natural disaster will take place and where will people will go like this. So there are every alternative years there are lots of natural hazards, so that the people they are going to eco-tourist destinations are decreasing, but this all trend is increasing. So when you see that this trends of foreign eco-tourists in that region, it is though increasing, R value is there, but it is all fluctuating because the foreigners generally don't go to these areas, they go for the administrative areas and where there are that facilities, infrastructure facilities. Otherwise they don't go there because these places still the eco-tourist destination in the central Himalaya does not have much facilities. So this is something eco-tourists inflow in the park and sanctuaries, and the revenue generation also, the domestic, you can read there, domestic tourists are outnumbered, followed by foreigners and total also. And they are giving also some revenues to the local people and government also, but not that extent it should be. But if you see the growth, you seen the trend is increasing, but if you see the growth in eco-tourist inflow, it is decreasing. So that is, and highly variable also. In 2013, there was the Himalayan tsunami, so people, they afraid to go there after that also. But when you talk about the tourist potential, if you look this map also, eco-tourist hotspot, there are many, because all these national park, wildlife sanctuaries and conservation reserves and biosphere reserves, you can see that. So the green circle showing that how many eco-tourists visiting in these places. The bigger one is the Corbett National Park, and then another is this Rajaji National Park, and there are, as I told you, number of national parks. So this shows the tourist hotspot, means that if we have, and because why people going to Corbett National Park, because they have some, the infrastructure facilities, so they are going outnumbered. Then Rajaji National Park also close to the road network and railway network. But other places, they have more potential in terms of ecotourism, but the tourist inflow is very less because of lacking in infrastructure facilities. So here you can see some pictures also. This is the Gangotri area, one of the dham, pilgrimage site of highland shrines of that central Himalaya. And you can see that the total forest area in Uttarakhand is 63%, protected area is 30.95%, and this area is actually the Nanda Devi National Park area, and this is highly protected. Now Government of India has restricted the these eco-tourists to go this region, and they are planning to get some inner line permits maybe in very near future. So these are potentials there, and you can see here that there are 6 national parks, 7 wildlife sanctuaries, 4 conservation reserves, 1 biosphere reserve, like that you have seen previous slides. They are very beautiful. So in terms of the natural cultural ecosystem resources base in Uttarakhand, almost because Uttarakhand is culturally very rich, and also they have very good, that natural bases in terms of the rivers, in terms of river valleys, that streams, waterfalls, and all this, and also forest landscape is very beautiful. And because as we were talking about that there are Char Dham, they are not real the original Char Dham, but they have become popular because of lots of publicity, the Gangotri, Yamunotri, Badrinath and Kedarnath. So that both way the natural and cultural basis of ecotourism is very rich in this entire regions. There are all these places. You can see these natural bases of ecotourism, the mighty Himalaya, then Rajaji National Park, then this is called the wildlife sanctuary, Chila Wildlife Sanctuaries, and there are lots of elephants in this Chila Wildlife Sanctuaries. And then if you see this another, this is called the cultural base of tourism. So this Yamunotri is always 6 months, it is snow-capped because of the huge snow that occurred there. And then people have cultural processions. Every month there are some festivals where a number of people, they get processions from one place to another place with their folk deities, and then there are other, these highland shrines you can see. And if you see, look into this map also, no space is there which is empty, because all the places there are highland or valley region shrines. So the entire, that's why it is called also Devbhumi. So that way, because people going to these highland shrines, they are taking shelter somewhere in the tourist destinations, and they will take like this around also. So for this potential I am talking about, because Kedarnath Wildlife Sanctuary is located around the Kedarnath Sanctuary, so people going there, they can enjoy that way also. And even that Valley of Flower National Parks and Govind Bihar National Parks, they all are located in the highland shrines. So that way high potential. And if you see this graph is revenue earned and eco-tourist inflow in different national park and wildlife sanctuaries. Highest revenue earned and the flow is from the Corvette National Park because it is very accessible, airways, roadways, railways, followed by Rajaji, but other places the ecotourism has yet to be developed. So what we did, this all national parks, we got some, we gave them some score and rank that which one is developed, which one is not developed, and then we gave rank according to physical features, accessibility, transportation, accommodation, and it was obvious that the Corvette National Park and Rajaji National Park had high potential of ecotourism because of all these facilities. And in the higher areas, if you go to near to the Himalaya, they are highly vulnerable, highly fragile. So the ecotourists also, they generally don't go in these places. So this will be my last slide because I went very fast also, time constant is there, sir. Anyway, so because lunch is waiting for us. So policies for sustainable ecotourism development. So what we have to do is the development of infrastructure facilities is required. Though there are now the government of India and Uttarakhand, they have constructed this all-weather roads. But some people, they are arguing about all these road construction along the fragile ecosystem in these areas, and because this area is highly vulnerable to landslides. So that is one of the problems. So how to develop also? We can say that, okay, development of infrastructure facility like transportation, accommodation, but how? This is always a question mark. Then this can be done, imparting training to tour guides, tour and travel guides is very essential, and service providing. The local people, they are providing services to tourists, but still there is lots of thing to do because they are not much trained. Conservation of nature means the biodiversity conservation is, because Himalaya is the hottest spot of biodiversity, so that way we have to conserve. Creation of eco-tourist circuit. So circuit is one other concept, I will not go there. But when we create the tourist circuit, so tourists will not go only one eco-tourist destination, but they can cover the whole circuit. That way the policy is required. And creation of eco-parks also. There are 2 eco-parks and it needs more eco-parks in that area. And community participation is always, because all the local people, they are serving the tourists there, providing services, so they must take up for the policy matters and this way. And also the promotion of local culture, because if you go to outside of India in some tourist destinations, evening time the people, they will show their culture and through dance and songs, and like if you go to Tibet also. So that way every day there is some place, maybe the common place in these destinations. If people, the local people show their culture, it will enhance the, that local culture there. And homestay is required now, because homestay generally in rural areas and the cities, but along the trekking, because if you go to the Govind Bihar, Pasu Bihar area, you need to a trekking of 18 kilometers, so there is no homestay. That is also required for this tourism development. One book I have published, this Springer has published on sustainable tourism development in the Himalayas, Constraint and Prospect. And there are some many, this paper on tourism, eco-tourism, pilgrimage tourism that were done by me. And thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson of this session, my co-panelists sitting on the dais, dignitaries present of the dais, dear research scholars, students, and participants coming from all around country and different part of the world. Many things are already said on these themes which is identified by the organizer to organize this particular event, and many aspects are already said. Being a speaker in that second technical session, and so many speakers, they have already said many aspects. I would like to share some of my thoughts, like whatever I feel, whatever discussions are already made. Based on that, I would like to try to synergize some of the aspects. And being a student, being a researcher, being a scholar who is working in Northeast India from last 10 years, I have seen the tourism of Northeast a bit closely than other scholars. So I would like to present some of my thought in today's platform. I would also try to sum up my presentation as directed by the Honorable Chairperson within the specified timeline. So what I have realized from my observation, from my work that I have done in this region from last few years, we can see that there are certain strengths that Northeastern tourism has. We can see that we have clean air, we have authentic culture, tradition, we have unexplored destinations. So these are certain things that are there in different destinations, irrespective of the places of visit. If we are visiting to Nagaland, we will be finding many things similar. If we will be visiting to Meghalaya, if we are visiting to Mizoram, most of the things are very, very common. Only thing is that slight differences are there. Those things we need to understand. Truly, some weaknesses are also there. We cannot deny with that fact that weaknesses are not there, all the things are on track, everything is properly planned. So those weaknesses are broadly already categorized by other speakers as lack of connectivity, resources and facilities, amenities which are usually desirable by the tourist. It is not in place. What tourists desire when they visit to a destination? We need to think about in that context. As a tourist, things are already changed post-COVID. Earlier tourists, they were asking from the different tourism destinations, different kind of comfortable stay. They used to visit to the places where they are getting good kind of facilities. Service is also expected to be of higher standards. But now things are a bit changed. They are not asking for the facilities of that kind of highest standard. Rather, they are thinking to feel the nature. As it is already pointed out, the speakers prior to me, they are thinking to feel the culture. They are trying to go closer to the nature. They are trying to realize how the people at different places, they are cooking their food, they are making their different kind of ingredients, how they are growing their agriculture. So many things like people are willing to see nowadays. So there is a key to promote tourism in such regions. We are also knowing that in this part of the country, there is a resource crunch. We don't have that much of money. The government is not having that much of money to develop the resources. Everybody is saying that there is a need to promote the infrastructure, there is a need to prepare the road, there is a need to develop the airports. Different kind of resources are to be made, they are brought on track. It is not possible within the limited resources that we are having. What we need to think about, we need to see our strengths. We need to see whatever unique, whatever authentic, whatever culture, whatever facilities or amenities that we are having. It has to be presented to the tourists in such a manner that they will feel contented, they will feel satisfied, they will carry some good memories with them while returning to their places. The title of the discussion, the title of the presentation that was asked from the organizer for me to present, it was the Destination Management Organization, DMO. So here comes the key role of the Destination Management Organizations and Destination Marketing Organizations, sometimes it is called. So Destination Management Organization, they can play a key role in performing such kind of tasks. Here comes the actual role for the Destination Management Organizations to play. So when we are talking Destination Management Organization and how they can perform their activity, their contribution to such a destination. Basically, if we see, destinations are what? Destinations are basically, it is a complex of different kind of offerings or the services at a destination. It is also called the destination mix. It may include the transportation, it may include the accommodation facility, it may include the events, it may also include different kind of cultural activities which is being performed at a destination. So what is to be done as a tourism professional? We need to package all those activities together. It can be presented to the tourists in such a manner that they will feel closer to the culture. And for that, no monetary expenditure is required, not much resources are to be mobilized from one place to other. So in that way, I think we need to think about. Destination Management Organization, they need to bring together different stakeholders who are working in tourism arena and who are supporting the tourism activities. So basically they are brought together at one platform and things are to be presented properly to the tourists so that they will feel contented. At the same time, as it is already told by my fellow speakers, that if we are talking about tourism, so basically tourism is nothing but some kind of experience that we are giving to our customers. We are not sometimes many tangible items are not given to the customers, rather we are giving the experiences. Those experiences, if we are able to create the memorable experience, if we are able to give them something which may last longer, which may be endurable for their, when they will return back, then things will make a bit difference. Basically, that kind of aspect we need to take care of. So, I have done a bit of research in food tourism and wine tourism. So basically, if we think about that, so in all the northeastern state, we will find that the rich food and rich wine is also found in different state, different regions. Basically, what we need to do, we need to first do one thing, we need to first enlist different kind of resources that we are having. The problem is that most of the tourists, when they are visiting to different destinations, people are not keen to taste new food. They used to, they generally try to find out the food of their taste, the food of their, whatever food they used to take in their day-to-day life. Those kind of things they used to see. So what we need to do, we need to develop some kind of outlets where such kind of food may be presented or served, and only serving food will not be enough. Food is usually made in certain manner. There are certain history or there are certain stories are usually associated with the food. Before serving the food or at the time of the serving of the food, we need to tell the customers about the story behind that food preparations, stories behind how that food came into existence. So that will create some kind of interest in the mind of the tourist, and then they will also relish that food. So in that way, if we are able to develop some kind of connect with the tourist when they are visiting to a place, then they will also carry some kind of good memories about that place. In the same way, as we all know that from Northeast, we have 3 states which are already declared as a dry state. There is no alcoholic beverages being served. But we can see that all those 3 states, the different kind of alcoholic beverages are prepared and they are allowed to be sold. So basically what we need to do, we need to find out first those alcoholic beverages. Maybe if we are talking about Mizoram, so I could see that there are 2 regions, there are 2 districts. They are the Champarai region and Nahalan region, which are producing grape wines, which cannot be found in any other region of the Northeast India. Wines, fruit wines are very common. It is found in different states, but grape wine is found in Mizoram region. And it is also like, I could see that they are not promoted properly. So I think some kind of effort is needed to market these kind of resources. And besides that, we also need to find out some other key niche tourism products which can be presented to the tourist, so that they can also feel the nature closely, so that they can feel the culture of Mizoram closely. So in that way, if we are able to present our culture, our tradition, our products, so in that way I think we can make the tourists a bit connected to Mizoram, and they will definitely visit again to Mizoram, and they will also refer the products of Mizoram to other colleagues after visiting to their place of origin. So these are the few things that I wish to share with all the audience here. So thank you very much once again to the organizers for inviting me here and to allow me to share my views. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Saurabh. So, I think last speaker for this division, I think.
Namaskar to everyone. Let me give, basically, see, I am from, I've recently joined academics of 1.5 years back after spending 2 decades in hospitality, and that too in learning and development. So I can speak hours and hours about, but because I can see the faces, people are feeling hungry. So I will try to finish within 10 minutes about my topic. See, my topic which has been given is sustainability practices in hospitality industry. The reason of giving me this topic is because I am just now coming from the industry. So I know what are the basically, so whatever the presentation I'm going to talk about, because everyone is talking about green tourism, ecotourism, rural tourism, but actually, what are the practices being followed in the hospitality industry? Are they having a real practice, or it's just a superficial of only thoughts or in papers? So, what is sustainability? Basically, sustainability refers to an ability to maintain a certain level of economic, social and environmental well-being for the present and future. I think this is the definition which we have already gone through it. But it is, what is the hospitality plays a very important role, because it is not only use of the proper natural resources, it focuses on reducing the waste and pollution and promoting social equality and of course preserving the environment for the future generation. Sustainability, when you talk about sustainability in hospitality, it's, see, there is a one policy, management policy, which everyone has read about, carrot and stick policy. what is in terms of the hotel, I think this policy is being implemented for the hotel. The strict point of view is basically the NGT has forced the hotels to adopt the green practices. That is the strict policy. And the carrot policy is because if you are generating in 100 rupees, out of 30 rupees you spend on your manpower, which you cannot do, and 30 rupees you can spend on your HLP cost, heat, light and power cost. So you are forced by the management to reduce the consumption, and consumption can only be reduced when you adopt sustainable practices. These are the two major expenses in any hotel earning in terms of the revenue. The 30% contributes to the revenue of, in terms of the HLP. We cannot think of. My hotel budget when I was working with JP Hotels, budget was 100 crores. So you can understand 30% of the 100 crore is going to spend on heat, light and power. So that much, so this is the motivation for the chief engineers to implement the sustainability practices in the hotel industry. Therefore, that is the reason why sustainability is today in the top 2 list of the business leaders. Because business leaders have realized one very important thing, that to survive in this competitive era, to have a sustained competitive advantage, you cannot get rid of these sustainability practices. You have to adopt. And this sustainability trend has increased post-COVID-19. Pre-COVID-19, hotel was always having an excuse, they are not having a budget. They cannot spend on green practices because it's a very costly affair. Buying a garbage disposal machine is costing more than 20 lakh rupees. But post-COVID has forced the organization to go for sustainable practices. And that is why the hospitality leaders, they have categorized the sustainable practices into 6 segments. The first is energy efficiency. The second is water conservation. Third is sustainable food practices. Fourth is waste reduction. Fifth is community engagement. And of course, sixth is sustainable transportation. I'm just going to give you a brief. Though I have given the PPT to the organizers, to Professor Pankaj, if you want to relate that presentation, if you want to see the PPT in your class, he can run through that PPT. So I'm not going for the PPT because I know that everyone is feeling and hungry, and if I took too much of time, they will start cursing me. I don't want to be the cursing man, who basically take the curse of all the other persons. And in fact, trust me, I am also feeling hungry. So what are the basically energy efficiency? The hotels are adopting occupancy sensors. Occupancy sensors means when you move on the floor, only then the light will be there, otherwise continuous light will not be there. Then they are basically, they are installing most of the hotels, good 5-star hotels, they have installed a solar panel. And trust me, 60 to 70% of their electricity consumption, which is coming from these panels. So how much amount they are saving on the HLP, that is, you can calculate it very easily. Fixing of LED lights. It is not only cost saving, but also the beautification of your environment and also enhancing the mood of the consumers. They don't want a very dark lights. So fixing of LED lights, which is saving around 30 to 40% of the electricity consumption. Initially, pre-COVID, there was a standard SOP that hotel will maintain 21-degree temperature of air through thermostat in their room. But after the COVID, government have changed the regulation. You cannot maintain a temperature less than 24 because of the COVID impact. But once the COVID has finished, so hotel had decided now instead of 24, a guest was also demanding to reduce the temperature, we have fixed up by 23. Just increase of 1 or 2 degree of temperature, we have saved around 8% of the electricity bill. So then energy efficient appliances. So these are basically the energy efficiency which we are practicing in hospitality industry. The second aspect with the main focus is water consumption. There is a fact and truth that our forefathers have seen water in the river. Our parents have seen water in the well. We, the generation, have seen the water in the tap, and today's generation is seeing the water in the bottles, and tomorrow we don't know what we are going to see. So this is the transformation which we have to see. We have to take in right action, not only practices in terms of the hotel, we have to take it very judicially. If you are drinking, hotels have started, like for example, instead of giving a full glass of water, they are filling with the half, so that whatever the consumption, so that there should be no water wastage. Initially, whenever you get a bottle of water, guests used to leave it half, so, thinking that it is a waste. Now they carry the water bottle with them and consume it, so that not even a single drop of water can be wasted. Then what we are doing, we are educating the guest in form of the tent cards, in form of the basically the informing them. Then we are fixing up very smartly the aerators in the tap, so that it can mix the air in the water. It may have a full flow also, but at the same time water consumption can be reduced. We have fixed also fixing up the sensors tap in the washroom, and of course you must have seen the urinal normally discharge 6 to 8 liters of water in one flow. So we are in the hotel industry, we are using an odor-free mats made of Johnson Diversey, and green mats. You must have seen the urinal mats, which does not require much of water because it is already been pregnant. Then dual flush water, because we don't need, if you press the flush, I think it is there in the washroom also. Then of course, installation of the piezometer. Those organizations who are now, NGT has forced the organization to be accountable for the water which you are drawing from the soak wells. They have fixed up the piezometers in which whatever the water withdrawn from the ground level, it basically being measured. And monthly report you have to send it to the NGT. Then we are, of course, NGT is also focusing on rainwater harvesting and recharging of the soak wells from where you are withdrawing the water. Then the major thing which we as the hospitality industry has done is AC condensate. Normal window AC produces 18 to 20 liters of waste water. And if you calculate, if you have 10 AC, you can understand how many liters of water is going in drain. So what we do, we collect all the waters from the AC condensate and we connect it to the filter tank, and from there the water is being filtered and again recycled for the drinking purpose. And I think the AC condensate is much more purifier than your mineral water. Even many people uses them for the battery recharging also. So whenever you don't want to filter water or distill water, you can use the AC condensate also to refill the water in your batteries. Every 5-star, it is as per the standard. If you want to go for a 5-star classification, you need to have a swimming pool. So and swimming pool consumes 70,000 to 80,000 liters of water. And per consumption of water, what the doctor recommends per person is 4 to 5 liters. So you can understand that 80,000 liters of water basically being used for swimming pool, which can fetch the basically the water desire of 20,000 people. So what we are doing, we are continuously monitoring the pH value, we are continuously doing the chlorine dosing, and we are continuously going for water filtration. So the same water can be recycled and refilled in the swimming pool without harming the guest and without harming the nature. Then of course, we all have ROs in our room, at home. Lot of discharge has been done from so what we do, we normally collect the discharge of RO water and we recharge the ground water. So this is the way with hospitality industry is basically doing for water conservation. Because we have realized, if we do not wake up today, tomorrow will be the worst. I was just seeing Z News a day before yesterday. I was so much feeling helpless that the women from the, and the kids from the village in Nasik, I'm talking about the Nasik Maharashtra, they were basically going down to the well, risking their life, and still their water is not available. And they are just drinking the muddy water, and they are collecting in the bucket and they are pulling it from the well. And so much risk. In fact, I cannot even, if you see the well inside, you will feel afraid that you will die. So much of risking of life. This third aspect, what the hospitality industry is doing, it is on the focusing on waste reduction. So what are the steps? The first step of waste reduction is developing an STP plant. It is called sewage treatment plant. So whatever the waste is being collected from the wastewater, from the urinals, from the WCs, they goes to the sewage treatment plants. From there the sludge is being segregated and water is being filtered and recycled, not for the drinking purpose, but for the gardening purpose. So that is the word STP plant is there. Then whatever the food waste which is coming up, these implementations is very costly. This is being done in very good organizations only. But NGT has forced that if you want to survive, you have to be with this. You have to bear the cost. So OWC is organic waste compactor. It means whatever the raw waste which is coming up from the kitchen, it goes into the machine, and machine will basically, through the temperature, it will ferment and it will make a natural manure, and that will basically can be used. I'm just finishing. Then natural composite, basically I got the message from the organizers to finish it off. And of course, eliminating the use of plastic. This is very, very important aspect. Food practices, sir has already talked about vocal for local. We are basically encouraging the local farmers to produce their food. And of course, green building design. Many hotels, they have started green roofing, so that to reduce down the temperature, need not to have more of AC consumption. And of course, we are using, in building construction, we are using raw dust, so basically to make the bricks. And of course, normally initially, if you share the transport, you cannot, previously you cannot tell to the person that we have come from the sharing transport. But hotels have started with the practice that if you come in a sharing transport or sharing auto or sharing a bike, you will be rewarded 1 point, and that point you can collect it, and that is basically being redeemed against certain vouchers. So every staff who is basically sharing the voucher, there is an attendance register which is kept at the time office. They have to just enter that they have used the public vehicle and sharing autos, where you, at least I'm talking about 3-wheelers, where 5% can come in or 4% can come in one auto. So they have been encouraged. So these, and of course, use of bicycles and e-carts. So lot of green sustainable practices is being practiced. And but you are doing a lot of practices, you need to be certified. So a lot of green organizations are there. One very big organization, that is American Green Council, they certify the hotels in terms of the LEED, that is leadership in energy and environment design. The ISO certificates are also there. And this not only save the cost, but also build the brand image of an organization. ITC hotels, they are 100% green hotels. New properties are 100%, means zero carbon footprint are there. They are following 3R practices: reduce, refuse, and recycle. So sustainable practices we are talking about in the most of the academicians in the other conference, and this is the very talk of the day, but actually these practices are being applied in the hospitality and tourism sector, and both in terms of the carrot by NGT, and of course the stick is by NGT and carrot is by the management of cost saving. With this, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude in last to the organizer of this, especially Professor Himanshu sir, and of course his entire team, for the great hospitality, great and flawless arrangement, and it is difficult to express in words, but I must thank you to all the listeners and my colleagues for patiently listening me. Thank you.
Thank you. I think you are 15 to 20 minutes to 3. Accordingly, you have to get ready. I think I will take only 1 minute. So I think this session is supposed to be end. And let us declare end, because I am not allowing anybody to participate from the public. Because without public participation, panel discussion is incomplete. So I will request all the participants to contact the respective panelists as and when you like, by WhatsApp, by phone, or any mode of conduct. You can clarify the doubts. So I think in this, I think you started from the sustainable hospitality practices, you have started from the destination marketing, you have started from the ecotourism, you have started from the cultural tourism, you have started from the education and hospitality industry itself, and local, vocal for the locals. And with this, I think we redefine the definition of tourism. And thank you, all the participants. Thank you, panelists, to join this, to make this conference a success. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We are almost at the end of our international conference. The key takeaway of the present sessions are: mere need for crisis management, vocal for local creates a unique experience and memories. Go out more responsibly. Be proud of your culture and identity. Skilling of human is vital. Contribution of culture and tourism, ecotourism, DMOs, sustainability, and more. On behalf of Department of Tourism and Hospitality Management, Mizoram University, I thank all the eminent speakers for sharing their valuable insights, and our guests, faculty members, and students for your patience and for the prolonged time that is taken. So lunch is served down. Please do enjoy your lunch, and I request all of you to come back for the valedictory session. Thank you.